Okay, the persistence of prayer, or prayer of persistence. Uh, this is such a good one. There's a great story, a great parable that Jesus tells in Luke chapter 18 about the persistent widow. And this persistent widow feels like some injustice has been done to her. Maybe she's a widow, so just lost her husband. Maybe a piece of land belonging to the family had been taken by her brother-in-law or some other family member. I'm not sure, but it was some injustice that was obviously fairly significant because she went to the courts over it. And so she goes to the court, she arrives there early. The judge arrives and she says, "Judge, this is unfair, this is unjust. This piece of land or this situation, it's mine. I want justice." And the judge dismisses her, sends her away. We don't know why, we're not told why, but she's a woman, she's a widow, she's living in a culture at that time which would not have put such value on her as a woman. I don't know, maybe the judge just got out of bed on the wrong side of the bed, or I don't know. We don't know what perspective the judge was coming from in order to say, "I don't want to hear your plea." So she goes away. She comes back the next morning. As soon as the court is open, she's knocking on the door, and the judge is having to see her, and he hears her plea again and then turns her away and says, "No, not having any of that." Next morning, she's the first at the door, knocking on the door. "Judge, hear my plea." And he sends her away, and next morning back again, knock on the door. "Judge, you need to hear my plea." By now, he's beginning to get a little shaky. He's pulling out the vodka from underneath the courtroom desk. He's trying to calm his nerves. He's dreaming in the middle of the night about this woman coming up toward him and coming at him with this plea. And he's getting a little frustrated, a little anxious about this situation. In the end, after persisting and persisting, the judge goes, "Hey, just to keep you quiet, I'm going to give you this situation. I'm going to act on your behalf, whatever it was, piece of land, or here it is, it's yours." The moral of the story is this, that we learn that judge gave her what she was asking, not because he was a judge, but because she was persistent. Jesus tells another story in Luke chapter 11. He talks about a friend who visits a man who visits his friend, and he has no bread. And so he knocks in the middle of the night on the friend's door and says, "Friend, can you please give me some bread?" And the friend, and by the way, in that culture at that time, hospitality, and still is, huge. And so if a neighbor, and particularly if a friend comes around and asks for food, you really should be answering. But anyway, this friend says, "No, please go away, come back another time. If I get up, I'm going to wake my wife, my children, my cows, my sheep, they're all in one house together," and he's having to get up and cross over all these people to get to the door. And so he goes, "No, look, please come back another time." But the friend knocks again. He's persistent. The same situation applies eventually through insisting and persisting. This friend gives him some food, some bread, not because he was a friend, but because he was persistent. The moral of the story, of both of these stories, is persistence wins the day. Persistence gets answers. And so I want to leave this thought with you. Elijah prayed and looked 7 times for rain to come when he was trying to end the famine. 7 times he kept coming back. 7 times kept looking to see if the cloud was in the sky. And James, the Apostle James says, and he was just a man just like you and I. Nothing more special about Elijah than us. If he can get an answer through persisting, coming back again, then so can we. There was a man Jesus prayed for who was blind. Jesus prayed for him, and he goes, "How can you see now?" And the guy goes, "I can see a little bit. I see people, but they look like trees." So Jesus prayed for him again, and he got healed. That is not a story of the lack of faith of Jesus. The Jesus you and I know has no lack of faith, no lack of power, no lack of ability to have healed him the first time. What is the story about? The story is a lesson in persistence. God loves to see us return and return again. Because in that process, listen to this, our motives get purified. When we have to keep coming back to Jesus, when we get knockbacks, when we find that our prayers are not answered first time, what does it do? We begin to question ourselves. We begin to question our desires. We begin to question our motives. We begin to question, does God really hear me? And we get purified on the inside of our hearts. And God is looking for a strength of character, so our fight gets stronger. He's looking to see, will they come back to me again? How much do they really want this? Is there a fighting spirit inside them to keep on going? Some people get knocked back so quickly. They're not showing any balls. They're not showing any courage. They're like, God does not love me. He did not answer me. God's looking for a toughness to develop in us, a desire to keep coming back again. So it purifies our motives. It makes our fight stronger, and our character gets formed. Romans 5:4 says persistence produces character, and character produces hope. By the fact we have to keep persisting, it grows our character, our maturity. We get over the fact that God didn't answer us the first time. We get over the fact He didn't answer us the second time. We get over, we just keep moving on. I'm bigger than that. I'm a bigger person than that. I'm going to get over my deals. I'm going to get over my rejection complex. I'm going to get over my I don't know, whatever it is, my need for attention all the time, whatever our deals are. And we've all got them, by the way. We've all got our little quirks of character. Persistence helps us work them through. Okay, just final thought. We don't always know why some answers don't appear, but there is one thing for sure. Persistence bears more fruit than not persisting. It builds us up in the process. Okay, guys, there we go. The prayer of persistence.